Hey, I just wanted to take a minute to talk to you about something I've been learning. In fact, just recently, I was able to go on a trip to Costa Rica with John Maxwell, which is pretty incredible just in and of itself. And by the way, just a little funny thing on the side. If you ever get invited to go somewhere with somebody really important and it's overseas, don't forget your passport, like I did. How terrible do you think it was that I got to the airport in Houston to get on a flight to go to Costa Rica with John Maxwell and get up there and go, John, sorry, but I forgot my passport. I'll have to get another flight. Oh, it was terrible. But when we got there, it was amazing. We trained 15,000 small group round table leaders. We had impact meeting with different people of the highest level in government and education and the police department. I mean, just incredible things going on. But people would ask me when I got back, just said, hey, what's the biggest thing you learned? And so what I want to do is just take a moment and tell you the biggest thing I got. And there were so many different things, but here's the biggest one I got that I learned from being with John Maxwell. Not just something he taught me with words and a lesson, but what I observed in his life that week when I was with him. He talked about adding value. So I just want to talk to you about this concept of adding value to people. And he spoke a lesson to all the police department all in the academy, where all 350 people graduating and becoming police officers in Costa Rica were graduating. He taught this lesson, and then I watched. It was the very first one. Then I watched the whole rest of the 4 days that we were together, him live out the lesson before me. So I want to talk to you about that. He talked about how every single day of his life he wakes up to add value to people. It's like the biggest thing to him. He says, I want to add value to leaders who will multiply value into other people. That's the whole thing that I live my life for, he said. Now, the way you do that is you wake up in the morning and you think, or you choose. You say, I'm going to add value to people today. So that's number one. He said, you just make a decision that my life, everybody is a plus or a minus with people, and every day I'm going to wake up and I'm going to add value. I watched him do that. Every single day I watched John get up, 71 years old, wake up in the morning. I don't know how early he got up, but I know it was early when I got up and I saw him. And he just, from the very beginning, was just walking around saying, man, I'm so glad you're on this trip. Man, you're such a great leader on this trip. I'm so glad you're here. I mean, adding value from the very beginning all the way during the day. And he talked to us about, hey, don't just make a decision to do it, but look for ways. Think of ways that you can do it. Think of how you can add value to people. And man, I watched him do that too. Do you know that everywhere we went, he was trying to think of ways to add value to people? Do you know that he would get up in the morning before we even started? He would look through the itinerary of where we were going and what we were doing, and he would think through, hey, when we're at that police graduation, how can I add value there? When we would go to the orphanage, he was thinking, how can I add value there? On the way back to where we were going to another place, he found out that on the way that some of the coaches that had come to help us, that were John Maxwell coaches, were being provided lunch at a local church nearby, that the pastor just found out they were in town. He just wanted to feed them. He said, well, if it's on the way, let's stop and encourage them. So here he is thinking about how he can add value to a pastor that doesn't even know we're coming. It's not on the agenda. Man, when we walked in, that pastor was like, oh my gosh, John Maxwell's here. He's got tears in his eyes. He's jumping up and down. It was amazing. And when we got in the van to leave, he goes, look at that guy. We just made his day. Isn't that awesome? He says, I live for that. See, John was teaching me again, man, it's not just about I want to add value when I can. I want to think up ways that I can surprise and empower and add value to people. Isn't that amazing? He said, I want to not only think up ways, but I want to look for ways to do it. So every night it was pretty amazing that after we had gone all day long doing all this stuff that we're doing, he's got to be worn out. But every night we would get together. He said, guys can't go to bed yet. We got to debrief and have a good time and kind of celebrate the day. So we would sit around for another hour, and he would just sit there and he would look for ways to add value. He would ask us questions. What did today mean to you? What did you learn? What did you? And he would go, man, Scott, that's so good. That's a great thought. Whoa, man, that's that's so, I mean, he just is adding value everywhere he went. Do you know what he did is when we were at one of the places, there were a couple of leaders that were running the event. But just understand, these people are important people, just, but they're not like, man, this is the president or something like that. But you know what John did? Said, hey guys, get my camera. I want a picture with these guys. I want a picture with them. And then he turned to me when we got in the van. He goes, see what happens, Scott? You don't just do it where they want to get a picture with you. You turn it around and show the value you have for them, that you say, I want a picture with you guys. I want you in a picture with me. And that was just so huge to me, that he's thinking about it. He's looking for ways to add value to people, and he's doing it. I mean, he's doing these things every day that add value. So the first thing is, every day I'm going to add value. The second thing is, I'm going to think of ways to add value. The third is, I'm going to look for ways to add value, and he's doing this. And then the fourth thing is, he says, I'm going to do things that add value. The whole trip was amazing to me, but the last night when everything was done, we had trained 15,000 people to be roundtable leaders in the nation of Costa Rica. There were 250 of the coaches that he has around the world from 20 different countries. They came. Isn't that amazing? 250 came as a mission trip, paid their own way to come. So you know what he did? With his own money, he put a party together for 400 people. When we got there, he had fireworks go off. He did these things to add value. He had all the little Costa Rican dancers out there to do a show for all of the coaches that came. He threw a party and he hung out. He didn't go, hey, here's the food, here's the party, y'all have fun, you deserve it. No, he stayed for 2 hours out there, dancing with everybody, having fun, high-fiving. He went to every single person at every single table while they were eating and thanked them personally. He was doing things that added value to each one of those people. I never once saw him turn down somebody to get a picture. Never once. And I'm talking thousands. There had to be thousands of people who asked him for an autograph, for a book signing, for a picture. Every single time he did it. We had to kind of pull him out of places to be able to do it. But he did things that added value to people. And he turned to me that night after the party and he goes, hey, if you're going to work hard, you got to party hard. You got to celebrate. And he said, and I want you to know, not $1 you give to help us do this is going towards the party. He says, I personally pay for the party, because that's my way of giving and celebrating and adding value to people. Isn't that amazing? Now, I just am amazed by it. The last thing is, he said, I encourage people every day. I encourage people to add value. Every single day, he found time in the schedule to go meet with at least some part of the 250 coaches to tell them thank you, to encourage them, to give them stories of the impact that are happening, to hear from them of what's happening. I mean, every single day we made some kind of stop in the schedule to go encourage the coaches that had come to do the coaching. And I thought that was huge, because these guys, they're just normal people from all over, but they're doing extraordinary things. He came and he added value. He said, here's the material. I'm going to train you in the material. I'm going to train you to be a person that add values. And these guys are training in companies and training in the police department, all these different amazing stuff going on. So here's the deal I want to challenge you with. Guys, you want to be a person of significant success. If you say, I want to be successful, success is about me. Success is about me being successful. Doing something significant isn't about me. Significance is about doing stuff for others. Success is me. Significance is others. It's about adding value to others. So I just want to ask you, can you make a decision that every single day, everywhere you are, you're going to add value to other people? You're going to build them up. You're going to encourage them. You're going to show them that you value them and that they have worth. Can you think of ways every day to do it? Think about your calendar, your day, and your schedule and how you can do that. Look for ways throughout the day that you can do it. Just stop. If you feel it in your heart, like, man, I should go spend just a couple of minutes. I watched Dr. Maxwell, John, one night that we were in the van and we had a tight schedule. We were supposed to go into this place. Everybody got out the van. We were leaving, but then we just stood there because there was somebody in the van John was talking to that he said, he didn't say anything. He just stayed in the van and kept talking to that person eyeball to eyeball with hundreds of people waiting. He just stayed in the van until that conversation was done. Do you think that was a huge communication of value? Huge. To that person, he's waiting. All these other people are waiting, but he says, you're so important. We're going to finish this conversation right now and let everybody else wait. That's adding value. Guys, I'm asking you, are you looking for those ways? Are you thinking of those ways? Are you doing things that add value? If you think, man, I need to spend just a moment with this person, add value in that way. Come on, guys. And you know, this is what it's all about. Doing the things that add value, encouraging others to add value. And you know what? I just the time I spent with him, it made the law of proximity come to life. The law of proximity says that when you really grow the most when you're around other people who challenge you and cause you to grow. That when you're with people, it impacts you more than just reading about people and doing this. Being with him made me want to love people more. Being with John made me want to add value more. I pray that my life will be that kind of example, that when people come in proximity to me, they want to love people more. They want to add value more. And I pray that you will do the same. I wonder what it would look like here at the Oaks if every one of us woke up every Sunday and we came to church and saying, I'm going to get there early because I want to add value to people. I want to be there and have plenty of time before service and after service to add value, to do things that will encourage and to love people and to share value to them. Man, that would be huge. I wonder what it would look like if that caught on in our church, so that on Monday through Saturday in businesses and in the community and at the grocery store and at schools, that the people of God were adding value, which is what Jesus says to do. This is the command I give you, John 13, he says, that you should love one another in the same way that I have loved you. In the same way that I have added value to you, I have shown you your worth by my death on the cross and by my love that's unconditional. Even when you were a sinner, I came and gave my life. And that same value that I've shown to you of how much you are worth to me, do that same thing for each other. Man, this is the calling. I see it in Jesus. I see it in John. I want to see it in me. Man, don't you want to see it in yourself? Let's be people who add value.